Hey, and welcome back to the channel. This is, of course, WGK's Public Safety Images YouTube channel. And today I'm going to talk all about the Charlotte Fire Department and their new Spartan Smeel mid-mount platforms. So without any further ado, let's talk about platforms with the Charlotte Fire Department.
Battalion 2, Engines, 11, 27, 7, and 22, Investigator 1, Ladder 27, and Safety 1, House Fire, CO1 Maple Street, Army, Echo, Battalion 2, Engines, 11, 27.
So in this video, I want to talk about the Charlotte Fire Department, and I've made mention of them before in that they've been fairly big on standardizing their equipment and running the same engines and ladders for 20 plus years without a whole lot of variation. And that's changed over the last couple of years. We've seen them start to add some variation into their fleet, for lack of a better term. So what I want to talk about today is just the fact that in the last couple of years, they've added some mid-mount platforms and gotten away from their all rear-mount aerial straight stick ladders. In fact, before the most recent purchases of the Smeel mid-mounts, the last time the Charlotte Fire Department had purchased anything other than a rear-mount straight stick was 1998, when they purchased two rear-mount platforms built by Quality on Spartan Gladiator chassis. These platforms were 85-foot LTI, which later became AI platform, and for Charlotte went into service as Ladder 16 and Ladder 18. While I'm not sure if it's directly related to the ending of acquiring platforms, it was around this time in the late 90s when Charlotte changed its dispatching operations and started splitting calls between engine and ladder companies in stations that had both. Prior to this, the engine companies had run most of the calls, with the ladders picking up anything when the engine was already committed or out of service. Around the late 1990s, they started alternating so that the call volume would be shared equally by the engines and ladder companies. This started to put more wear and tear on the department's ladders. And in fact, the two 1998 platforms that were purchased were replaced less than 10 years later with what has now become the standard Spartan Gladiator chassis built by Smeel 100-foot rear-mount aerials. Since 2001, the Charlotte Fire Department has purchased exclusively Spartan Gladiator Smeel build rear-mount ladders for their apparatus fleet. These all have been nearly identical in their setup, each with a 2,000 GPM pump, a 370-gallon water tank, and a 30-gallon foam tank, and featuring a 105-foot rear-mount aerial. However, all of this changed in 2022 when, in February, the Charlotte Fire Department placed Tower 3 into service, and then in March of 2022, placed Tower 18 into service. These two towers were both 100-foot mid-mount platforms, and the apparatus were quints. Still built by Smeel, they were on a Spartan Gladiator flat roof cab and chassis, featuring a Cummins diesel with a 2,000 GPM pump and a 300-gallon water tank. These two towers were designed to provide additional safe aerial and rescue operations on the fire ground, and also had the ability to flow large amounts of water at major building fires. The mid-mount platforms do provide or allow for a couple of advantages over the traditional rear-mount straight stick. The mid-mount actually increases the reach of the aerial device when the apparatus pulls in straight to a scene or a fire. The platforms would provide a place where crews could safely work on the roof of a building without necessarily having to stand on the roof itself, as well as potentially simplifying the rescue of civilians on upper floors at a fire scene. Whether one design is inherently better than the other is probably a matter of opinion, and I'll let you all fight it out in the comments. For I have learned that firemen have pretty strong opinions about most things, especially their apparatus. However, getting back to the point of the video, with the addition of these 2 towers in 2022, the Charlotte Fire Department had taken its first steps in diversifying its aerial fleet. The department added 2 more towers. Tower 26 went into service in April of 2023, and just this past month, Tower 27 went into service. With the addition of the towers, Charlotte hasn't really changed their dispatch operations, as in there are no special calls or tower special assignments unless requested by command. The department did place the 4 towers in 4 separate areas of the city to ensure relatively equal access across the city. The stations with the towers are shown on the map with black icons. When the department initially made the move to diversify its fleet and add the towers to their regular aerial apparatus, they ordered the 4 towers that are now currently in service. Recently, the department has stated they are interested in adding a 5th tower, and that tower could possibly be located at or near the airport in West Charlotte. The addition of that tower, though, is still dependent upon the city budget. And the budget for that tower has not been approved by the city. So for now, the department will continue to operate these 4 mid-mount platforms with the remainder of their aerial fleet in much the same way that they have operated their ladders over the last 20 years. All of these trucks are quints and so can be assigned to any type of call based on location, and allows the department to split calls between engine and ladder companies at stations that have both. Whether this is going to change in the future is probably a subject of another video. So as I finish up the video and just share a few more photos of Charlotte's mid-mount platforms, also want to call out or thank or identify sources of photos and information used in the making of this video. Obviously, they include the City of Charlotte and the Charlotte Fire Department, Legeros Fire Blog, and of course, Charlotte FD Trucks website, the #1 source for information about Charlotte Fire Department apparatus. So there you go. That wraps up this quick all about video, just talking about the introduction of a new style of apparatus, or a relatively new style of apparatus for the Charlotte Fire Department. Hopefully you've liked the video, you found it interesting, entertaining, and informative. If you did, please consider giving it the old thumbs up. Hopefully you're enjoying the channel, and I would ask you to subscribe. I would also ask that if you have any thoughts or comments or questions about anything I've covered, or I made a mistake or an omission and you want to have that noted, please feel free to get a hold of me. You can leave it in the comment section below. Otherwise, we will just see you all again in the next video. Thanks. Bye.